Welcome back to the Michigan Business Beat, brought to you on the Michigan Business Network. Chris Holman here, and we are coming to you from remote. Obviously, not remote to where I live, but remote to our normal studio down at the Capital Region International Airport. We're going to stay in this area, and we're going to talk with Teri Sand, who is business service manager, among other things, at the Capital Area Michigan Works here in Lansing. But they're also serving Ingham, Eaton, and Clinton County, pretty big service area. You know, let's talk a little bit about job opportunities and almost more importantly, Teri, challenges. You know, we have our speaker series come up, and we're featuring MICHauto and the MEDC part of the transportation piece. And they're going to talk about a lot of things. You are on the shortage of talent end of all this. Let's talk a little bit about, you know, not only bus drivers, but supplier demand.
Yes, thank you. There's many transportation companies in the Lansing region and beyond our region even that are certainly seeking employees. So we're not alone, but some of the companies that are unable to keep up with that demand for truck drivers, unable to recruit and hire fast enough in our region include Xavier Express, Willow Creek, even XO Trucking are just a couple that come to mind. CATA, our local public transportation system, certainly has taken a hit for the bus drivers that they need, mechanics, and even office worker shortages. Dean Transportation is here in our region, but also has quite a few contracts statewide to provide school bus drivers. It's a pretty big need.
It is a huge need. Teri, please, if you would, discuss any recent trends that you've been seeing in these industries, along with how job seekers can find jobs with your weekly Hot Jobs report.
Sure. Well, some research shows that the auto manufacturing industry has certainly fallen short to meet its needs. And according to Michigan State University's supply chain faculty, which, by the way, is the #1 ranked supply chain department in the nation, that the manufacturing industry is struggling to keep up with their demands due to the fact that the automotive industry operates that just-in-time inventory management model. You were asking about job seekers. So certainly through Capital Area Michigan Works, we have several ways we send job openings out, but one of those is the hot jobs that you're asking for. That typically comes out on Tuesdays.
Boy, and we've looked at that. Well, I've looked at it for about 20 years, and it never ceases to amaze me who's looking for people, and that list seems to be getting longer and longer. So let's talk about, you brought up just-in-time inventory management model. How's that impacting this sector?
Yeah, for sure. Well, parts arrive hours or even minutes before they're put on the assembly line. And so just by that name, those parts arrive just in time to actually be used. And there's about 30,000 parts in an average car. So if they're missing even one or a few of those parts, they can't move forward with building that car. So they're not producing a vehicle. Therefore, that affects their revenue. It's eating into their profitability, of course. So, and then you suddenly have that inventory piling up that they didn't have space for. So the problem with that model is it has to function exactly as it's designed, or you end up with those challenges. And so when any piece of that model starts to fall apart, the repercussions can be huge, that low supply and high demand. So just by its very nature, just in time affects staff too. So they don't always know the exact schedule they're going to be working if they're waiting for parts to come in or something arrives just in time and now they have to work a little bit later to finish that. So that affects workers' work-life balance, but childcare as well, transportation, all of those factors.
You know, it's interesting. I noticed it first at General Motors because they have a huge presence here in Middle Michigan. They put up 2 new plants, each of which had way more receiving bins for trucks than they used to have. And it seemed like there was this incredible rotation of shipments coming in immediately and getting right to the job site.
Yeah, that's why. Mm-hmm.
So listen, let's talk about the UAW contracts, because right in the middle of all this comes up this contract negotiation, which I don't think, by the way, is going to be all that friendly.
Yeah, time will tell, but it's probably going to be a couple months before we know whether the UAW contract negotiations could impact any of it this fall. Yeah.
So let me ask you, do you think this is going to get any better? Because we've got a couple other things out there that are working at this shortage of talent, and one of them is technology. So more companies are putting in technology, automation, that sort of thing. Have you seen anything there that's impacting the need?
Well, certainly if some sort of repetitive task or unsafe task or something like that can be automated, in some cases that helps the worker shortage, because then we have a smaller shortage than we had before. Not every position can be replaced, and I'm certainly not advocating robots doing everything, but to any sense that it's at least making employers think about efficiencies and costs, and how do we accomplish what we need in the best way.
Well, it's going to remain a challenge for a while, if I'm not mistaken. So,
Oh, for sure.
listen, thanks, Teri, and thank you for kind of priming our audience here for our upcoming speaker series event. Stay tuned, everybody, because there's more information regarding MBN's September 12th mobility panel featuring MICHauto and MEDC. That time is 11 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. in Friendship Hall at the Capital Region International Airport. Speaking of transportation, right? Teri Sand, thanks so much for joining us. We appreciate it, and all the work that you do out at the Capital Area Michigan Works. Teri, of course, the business service manager, among other things, at CAMW. You've been watching the Michigan Business Beat on the Michigan Business Network. I'm Chris Holman.